Welcome to IAG Live here from Crown Melbourne. As you can probably see, the Aussie Millions is taking place right behind me. Play starts in about half an hour from now, day 3 of the Aussie Millions. You may also notice that our CEO, Andrew, isn't with us right now. That's because he's still playing the main event, and he'll be sitting down in about 30 minutes' time for day 3 of the Aussie Millions, hoping to make a deep run and make the money. Now, as always, I'm joined, as you can see, by our intrepid studio producer, Oscar Guiara. Oscar, how are you going?
All good, thank you. Let's see. Not in such a fancy place. Huh?
Yes, exactly.
Not such a fancy place as you are, I mean.
It's good to be somewhere different, isn't it? And
yeah.
You can see that the dealers have walked in about 5 minutes ago and getting ready for play today. The players will be arriving in, 20 minutes or so. You may hear a bit of noise as the players arrive. They tend to be a bit noisy as play gets underway today. So in the meantime, we'll be bringing you all the news from this week. And Andrew may pop in and join us. He mentioned that his Uber was running a bit later than he was hoping today. So he may pop in and say hi on the stream. But look, it's been a great week here at Crown Melbourne so far. Massive numbers for the Aussie Millions. 770 runners in the main event, which is huge. The all-time record in the Aussie Millions was 822 in 2019, so not too far off the all-time record, which for the first year back after 6 years is pretty amazing. All right, Oscar, I'll farewell you, and we'll jump into this week's stories because a lot has happened over the past 7 days.
Okay. Cool.
Thanks, Oscar. So he'll bring up the first stories, and of course the first story is the Aussie Millions. Aussie Millions kicked off early this week with first of 3 day 1 flights. It's been a great series. I mean, it's been record-breaking with all the side events in the lead-up, but it's really been about the main event the past few days. As I said, 770 players, just a brilliant job. This is one of the elite tournaments in the world, and Crown's done a terrific job bringing it back. To have 770 players after a 6-year break is pretty phenomenal. And, some of the best players in the world are here. Michael Mizrachi, the World Series of Poker champion, is here this week, and, it's been terrific to see so many players come down. I'll be here till Monday. Monday, I jump on a plane to Macau to Asia. But in the meantime, keep up with all the action here. And for those who are poker fans, jump onto the Crown Resorts YouTube from Melbourne time, 1 p.m. Macau and Manila time today. If you jump onto Crown Resorts YouTube, you can watch a live stream of the feature table here with yours truly commentating alongside some poker luminaries. All right, Oscar, let's move on to the next story. So, poker aside, there's been plenty happening in the Asian gaming world over the past week, and of course the big news is that Cyrus, very popular man, very well-known man, he's been at Solaire pretty much since day one, stepping down as Executive Vice President and Head of Gaming for Solaire and Bloomberry Resorts. He will be missed. He's put a lot of work into Solaire, becoming the market leader there in the Philippines, set up their marketing programs, did a lot of work. I do understand Cyrus is heading to another gig that's pretty inviting, and we'll report on that in the near future. So yeah, I mean, look, it's that world we live in where executives move around. Cyrus has been there for a long time. He played a part in the IAG Expo last year, provided some great insights at the IAG Academy Summit. So I'm sure he'll be missed from Solaire. Be interesting to see who they pick up to put in his place. All right, Oscar, moving on to the next story. I've been a little bit sick this week too, so I've got a bit of a cough lagging from there. Now, this is an interesting one. So, Melco Resorts, as you no doubt read if you've been following IAG, was considering a while back selling up City of Dreams Manila. Of course, they are partners in City of Dreams Manila with Belle Corp. Belle Corp is the Philippines real estate company that owns the land and the property that City of Dreams Manila is in, and so they take a share of GGR. They also charge rent on the land, so they're basically 50% partners with Melco. Now, Melco was considering selling out their 50% stake. They announced recently they had chosen not to do that. They thought they were better off keeping that. They saw a bit of an improved runway in the Philippines moving forward, possibly didn't get any offers that they thought were attractive enough to sell up. Well, now Belle Corp, which recently stated its interest in developing an integrated resort in Clark, about 2 hours north of Manila, has stated that it is now looking at foreign operators to work with, and naturally Melco Resorts is one of those operators it is looking to possibly bring into its Clark development. That would make a lot of sense. Why work with two different operators when you can work with one? I guess it depends on what the perfect fit is for Belle Corp. And we do know that Lawrence Ho, the chairman and CEO of Melco, has visited Clark a number of times to get the lay of the land, look around, so possibly with a view to taking part in something like that. And Melco is one of the most active operators in terms of regional expansion. Of course, they've got their Cyprus integrated resort. They opened City of Dreams Sri Lanka last year, and so it's no surprise whatsoever that they might be looking at the Clark market. And I should say that Clark has not faced the same challenges that Manila market has had, or not to the same extent anyway, over the past 2 years or so. So Clark's been pretty steady, and it would be nice to see a genuine challenger to Hahn up there in that Clark market, someone who could offer the same elite level of service and excellence up there. All right, thanks, Oscar. Move on to the next one. Apologise again, I've still got that lingering cough. This is a super interesting one. Now, IAG held its Manila After Dark event at La Vie Resort and Casino in Malate very recently, a few weeks ago. Our team, we were all over there for that. Brilliant event. They're doing a great job there at La Vie, the former Hilton, I think it used to be many years ago. But investing $1 billion into transforming that into a true integrated resort. Of course, DigiPlus recently announced that it is acquiring a 53% stake in International Entertainment Corp, which is the parent company of La Vie Resort and Casino. And DigiPlus is now looking, apparently, according to reports, and DigiPlus has confirmed that this is the case. They are in talks to possibly acquire the hotel, I think it's called the Diamond Hotel Philippines, located right next door to La Vie, to sort of bring it all together into an integrated resort and gaming hub. That would be very interesting, and it'd be quite unique in the Malate area. About a 20-minute drive north of the Entertainment City region in Manila. So that would probably be a further investment. Of course, DigiPlus has a fair bit of cash on hand and is looking to diversify their interest from their online gaming interest in the Philippines into land-based. So that would be a very interesting development if that comes true. Of course, as I said, that's purely talks at the moment. Apparently, the owner of this of the Diamond Hotel has so far rebuffed offers. So we'll see if they can come to a deal in the future that would work for everybody. Very interesting if that takes place. And of course, the Philippines land-based market continues to expand and grow. So it's great to see. All right, Oscar, on to the next one. So the ongoing saga of Star Entertainment Group. Well, Star is in the process of trying to secure their future. We've spoken a lot about Star. We've gone through multiple inquiries in Sydney, the Belle inquiries in Sydney. Have had all sorts of issues. Of course, we're sitting here at Crown, who went through similar issues over the years, but of course they have come through those. They're a very different company to the one that was in a little bit of trouble a few years ago. They've got their license back in Melbourne, and they're doing great things here. And the return of the Aussie Millions is an example of that. Would not have been possible 3 or 4 years ago. Star is much earlier in that process, and they have a lot of work to do. But under their new leadership, of course, they were bought out by Belle and International Entertainment Corp a few months back in December, and the process of reforming and making Star profitable again is underway. Part of that was debt refinancing. They needed to refinance their debt, which was looming, and they confirmed this week that is now official. That debt refinancing has been locked in. 390 million US, so I think it's around 540 million Australian of refinancing. Also, of course, Star has announced that it has agreed to sell off its 50% stake in the Star Brisbane. So Star will focus on its Sydney and Gold Coast properties. It also released financial results recently that showed a much lower loss for the first quarter. So they're gradually on the right track. Some of the things they've been doing are cutting back their corporate office, which they obviously deemed to be an excessive spend. They've also been looking at various other cost savings across the business. And so the focus now turns to further efficiencies and, most importantly, compliance, because Star does not have its license in Sydney at the moment. And there's a pending suspension of its license in Queensland, which they no doubt hope they don't have to actually have a suspension for a month or so, which has been on the table, but keeps getting deferred. So another step in the process for Star locked in. Still a long way to go. First step is to stop losing money, become profitable again, but they've at least cut down their loss. So we'll see how they go over the next few months. Bruce Matheson put their mark on the company. All right, Oscar, next story. Just waiting for Oscar to move us to the next story. Oh, here we go. We have a few comments here. Star bought out by Bally's Investment Holdings. That is correct. A comment from Andrew. He's in the Uber to Crown now. So good to see Andrew watching the stream. And we've got a comment. Hello, Oscar. So, Oscar, you are becoming very famous through our weekly IAG Live. That's good to see. You're an important part of this team, Oscar. So good to see people acknowledging your contribution each Friday. All right, it's results season in Macau at the moment. So over the past, around the region really. So over the past few weeks, we've seen Las Vegas Sands release their results. We've seen MGM release their results. Melco released their results last week as well. And yesterday, SJM released their first quarter results. Well, no surprise, the quarter was heavily impacted by the closure of SJM satellite casinos. At the start of last year, they ran 9 of Macau's 11 satellite casinos. 8 of those have closed completely. They fully bought out the other one, Lark. And so SJM is now operating in the first quarter of this year, was the first quarter SJM has operated ever with its wholly owned casinos only and no satellites. Now, naturally, that has impacted revenue. There's been a reduction in revenue, been a reduction in EBITDA. But the company now focus on cutting those expenses down, improving EBITDA margin. And so, yes, SJM fell to a loss in the first quarter. That's not completely unexpected given the various costs to do with moving staff around and relocating staff. But they did see a considerable jump in EBITDA margin, I think from around 12.5% to around 15.5%, or maybe 12.8%. I think it's a 2.7 percentage point increase for SJM. So SJM is now, at least they've got the satellite issue is behind them now, so they can move on from there. They will be focusing a lot on Grand Lisboa Palace and getting that property optimised. Grand Lisboa and the Lisboa precinct on the Macau Peninsula, of course, they're putting a lot of work into there. They're expanding the gaming floor at Lisboa, moving a lot of the gaming tables from their satellite casinos to probably to 3 places really, to the new gaming area at Lisboa, to Lark, which they've bought, and of course more tables to Grand Lisboa Palace. So that process has been at least partially done now. You can hear a bit of buzz coming behind me in the poker room as well as action gets closer. It's 16 minutes away till day 3 of the Aussie Millions kicks off. So SGM making strides, moving forward with that progress, and hopefully we see them return to pure profitability in the near future. All right, Oscar, what's up next? Get rid of this cough over the next few days. So Wynn Macau also, or Wynn Resorts, released its financial results for the first quarter this morning, our time. As always, I was up nice and early to put these results up and to listen to the earnings call. Look, a pretty strong quarter for Wynn. They booked strong increases in Macau. You can hear possibly Danny McDonough on the microphone back there, giving out his instructions to the dealers. Hopefully you can still hear me as Danny gives his instructions. So yeah, Wynn had a pretty good quarter. It booked a strong 14% year-on-year increase in revenues at its Macau properties, Wynn Macau, Wynn Palace. Wynn Palace was a standout performer, really strong growth for the quarter. Wynn Macau, a little more challenged. Wynn Macau in particular had very, very low VIP hold. In fact, it was about 0.3 something percent from memory. A very low hold. And they had low hold last quarter as well, so it seems to be a little bit of an issue at the moment. Maybe they're just running unlucky for 6 months or so. But overall, Wynn Macau Limited performed very strongly for the quarter. Wynn Palace is really, it's their flagship property, and it is. There's a lot of luxury properties in Macau, but Wynn's certainly up there in that premium area. As you can see, their operating revenues of 989 million. So Wynn, I think, making gradual strides moving forward, and that's good to see for them. They are among the smaller of the Macau operators. They don't have the footprint of a Galaxy or of a Sands, of course. So but it's a bit of a small incremental increase for Wynn. But good to see them also enjoying a good first quarter. All right, Oscar, next story. Got some comments coming in. Well, we can hear you. It's fine. That's great. Thanks for Henry for the comments. I'm glad. I've got a few viewers today, which is great. And it's good to see Andrew tuning in, as he should, just to make sure everything is going well. Probably interesting for Andrew to watch this as a viewer rather than as the host. All right, so we've got quite a bit of Wynn today. There was a lot happened in the earnings call this morning, and this was the big news from Wynn this morning. So Wynn is developing a new hotel at Wynn Palace in Macau, 432 key all-suite hotel, adding a lot of suites and hotels to Wynn Palace there, which are desperately needed. I mean, Macau is massively underserved from hotel rooms. The more hotel rooms you can have, the better. It's going to be called the Enclave. Obviously going to be very high-end. I mean, Wynn is Wynn. They don't do anything that's not premium. So quite a fascinating addition. It's on the east side. One of the interesting things that came out of the call is that Wynn has 2 unused parcels of land at Wynn Palace, and the Enclave is not on either. It's actually not utilising those 2 parcels of land. Craig Billing said in the call that they will still look to utilise those 2 parcels of land, and in fact they're planning it out now. But the Enclave is on a very much smaller parcel of land on the east side, 432 keys, all suites. Of course, suites are the thing of the day in Macau at the moment. They serve the premium mass market, which is the lucrative market in Macau, and so Wynn is going to further capitalise on that. Interestingly, they said it will increase the total room keys by 50% at Wynn Palace. Sorry, 25% at Wynn Palace, and the suites by 50%. So it's a substantial uplift in hotel rooms, and of course I would assume that when they go to those other 2 parcels that they own there at Wynn Palace, that again more hotel rooms will be the story of the day. So you can see some of the renderings there. Looks like a very interesting addition. Very check in there. Typical Wynn luxury. Looks beautiful. I'm sure it will be very high end. So Craig Billings actually spoke about what they're expecting in terms of revenue and profit from this property. He says that room rates should probably be around $2,500 US a night. So certainly not cheap if you want to stay at Wynn. I assume there'll be casino customers in some of them too. But assuming fully paid for, fully occupied rooms throughout the year. And I should note that Wynn Palace and Wynn Macau both had 99% occupancy in the first quarter of the hotel. That's absolutely amazing. That's a very Macau sort of stat. So, considering it's going to be pretty full, you would expect as well that it could rake in around 400 million US a year. EBITDA in the range of 150 to 175 million a year. So certainly a no-brainer, as Craig Billings said, in developing this new hotel. All right, Oscar, on to the next story. All right, more Wynn. We reported earlier this week that Wynn was considering a slight delay or contemplating a delay on the opening date for Wynn Al Marjan Island in the UAE. We're scheduled to open in the first half of 2027. So Craig Billings confirmed in today's call that would be the case. There would likely be a modest delay. He really reiterated that point, modest delay, not a substantial delay. And the main reason for the delay is just a little bit of challenges in getting materials to the resort. Logistics, obviously, with the conflict in the Middle East, is making getting some of those materials in a little bit more complicated. But he said they are getting in just a little bit later than usual. They've had to find some interesting ways and some new sourcing to get all of those materials there available. But he does expect that the delay won't be significant, and he reiterated the fact that Wynn is very bullish on Wynn Marjan Island and the UAE in general and what that can offer. So you can see some very interesting updated photos there of development progress. If you can just stay on that one, yeah, Oscar. So obviously down there on the podium level, obviously very busy with work. I think Craig Billings said there are 22,000 workers on site at the moment. So certainly no slowdown. Everything is still powering ahead as best as possible. Yeah, plenty of action there. And just move up to the picture above, Oscar. Yeah, so you can see the main frame has taken shape. The property is topped out. A lot of the fittings are going in. You can see everything is taking shape and looking pretty good, actually. So I'm not sure what modest delay would mean. Would it mean 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? Probably not much more than 6 months if if Craig Billings is adamant about the modest delay. But that's the update on the UAE. All right, Oscar, on to the next story. Okay, well, G2E Asia is just around the corner. I'll be jumping on a plane on Monday morning and flying to Macau, arriving Monday evening, and then Tuesday straight into G2E Asia. IAG will have a very large contingent of people there. Please come and visit our booth at G2E Asia. There'll be a very heavy presence there. Looking forward to catching up with all of our industry friends. In fact, I just ran into Richard Howarth a few moments ago here at Crown Melbourne from GLI. Turns out Richard and I will be on the same plane to Macau and on the same plane back from Macau. So hopefully catch up with Richard on the flight. No doubt I'll see him at the airport at the very least. But of course, the big event from our perspective at G2E Asia is the industry party. On Wednesday evening at Vista at MGM Cotai is the industry party. It is the must-attend event of G2E. We're expecting around 400 people to attend. We've announced this week some of our sponsors, so you can see there. Oscar, I'll just read out, of course, our platinum sponsors, and we thank them. Aristocrat, IGT, thank you to them. Lectow, thank you to Pedro Cortez, the MDME, thanks to Rui for your support. Novamatic, it's coming as a sponsor. It's great to have them involved. And SpinTech, of course, are our platinum sponsors. We announced earlier in the week that Interblock and Light & Wonder are our diamond sponsors, and we can't thank Interblock and Light & Wonder enough for their support. They've been great supporters of IAG over the years, and great to have them very heavily involved in the industry party. Now, you have to attend the industry party. It is the place to be. Everybody is there. It's great fun. It's very relaxed. It is the networking event, not just of G2E, but it's the networking event of the year. So please, if you do not have a ticket, tickets are limited. We will not, we're not going to have 500 or 600 people there. Tickets are limited and they are selling fast. So how can you get in? Well, you can get in as under a sponsor's allocation. So if you are invited by one of the sponsors, you can attend. If you are not invited by a sponsor, you may be able to purchase a ticket from IAG. Please reach out to our team. You can see the contact details there. But don't leave it to the last minute. We've had many people come in at the last minute on a Wednesday and rock up at the door and no, I'm sorry, but you can't get in. You need your special individual QR code to attend. But looking forward to that. That's going to be a tremendous event. All right, Oscar, what's next? Well, that's it. So it's been a little bit of a shorter IAG live today. It's probably good timing because the main event kicks off in 5 minutes, and I don't want to disturb the players too much once they get underway. with my talking, but you can see the players are streaming in. They are unbagging their chips. They're around about 160 odd. Actually, I can see Andrew wandering into the room. So I might just get him up here for 2 minutes before we finish to say hello. I can see him wandering in. So around about 160 players remaining from the 770 players who took part in this event. The cash, well, we'll make the money today, so the money bubble will burst in the, it's around about 85 players, I think, make the money. Andrew is trotting up just in time, Andrew.
Yes,
stay
there.
there.
Right. I'll just stay in the background. You sit.
All right.
You've been coughing. I'll get on your left.
Right.
You've been coughing away there.
I have. I'm not sick anymore, but I've got this lingering cough. So, Andrew, you start in a few minutes, but tell us about your Aussie Millions journey.
We're starting 4 minutes, and I want to sit down for 2. So you got me for 2 minutes.
Right.
And Harold's here too, and I think he didn't come up, so hopefully he does. In 2 minutes, very quickly, it's been fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. I've only got 73,000 chips at the beginning of day 3, which is 13k more than starting stack. I topped out at 201k. Was 25k early on day 1.
Yep.
Really tough day yesterday. I played 2 tables. A table with good players on it, a table with not so good players on it. Ironically, I did better on the table with the good players than I did on the table with the not so good players. Had some very laggy players on my left that made life difficult. But more generally speaking, it's been a great event. Danny's done a fantastic job. I mean, it's fantastic to see these great numbers. 770, first time back after a 6-year gap. You know, this tournament, next year they might even get 1,000, or if they don't get 1,000 next year, they will the year after for sure. So it's been a really, really good event.
Yeah,
fantastic.
And Scott Messenger has wished good luck to all the players in the Aussie Millions. Susanna has asked what time. So, as mentioned, I'm doing the live stream commentary for the Aussie Millions. That will start from 3 p.m. Melbourne time, 1 p.m. Macau time on the Crown Resort.
I better go. Table
off.
52, seat 2.
All right, well, you're in this room then, so
Yes,
that's good.
I am.
So we'll follow Andrew's progress. Danny's just inviting everybody in. So look, well, that brings us to the end of our IAG Live today. It's a little bit shorter. It's much easier when Andrew and I are bouncing off each other. But as I said, I don't want to interrupt the players once they get started, and in 3 minutes' time, there'll be shuffle up and deal. You can see the excitement in the room. There's also more tables there's a main poker room outside too, where there's a lot more tables. So plenty going on here in the Crown Poker Room. Anyway, that's it from me, Ben Blushkey. Thank you for joining us at IAG Live. It's been a bit of fun. The first time I've hosted IAG Live purely by myself, but coming from the Crown Poker Room, a lot of excitement, and we've enjoyed it a lot. Please do tune in if you're interested in poker to the live stream commentary of the main event from 3 o'clock this afternoon local time on the Crown Resorts YouTube channel. Other than that, we will see you next week. Bye for now.
15 seconds for your first action. If you go to 0,